of how we use social media. It's not just about the platforms themselves.
To the preservation of the national unity and democratic stability.
Water is life, water is an essential service, and we must have to carry out the residents.
Local communities are not only vital to the growth of society, but they also form the bedrock of humanitarian development.
Hello and welcome to The Reporter, a news and current affairs program that goes beyond the headlines, bringing reporters from the field to give first-hand accounts and in-depth analysis of unfolding issues, correspondents' perspectives, ensuring balanced, credible, and comprehensive storytelling. Welcome once again. I am Anieti Patrick. On this edition of the program, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has reiterated the federal government's strong commitment to the establishment of state police. The minister made this known at a strategic meeting with the Center for Crisis Communication, led by its chairman, Major General Chris Olukudale, retired, at the ministry's headquarters in Abuja. Our correspondent, Sadia Yakubu, has the rest of the story. So while we're waiting for Sadia's reports to come, let's quickly also tell you, in line with security issues, we also have stories which is also in line to tell you how security matters are being handled. We have the Armed Forces of Nigeria has intensified nationwide operations, recording major gains against terrorism, kidnapping and oil theft in February 2026. Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Michael Onoja, says troops arrested 85 suspects and rescued over 400 hostages in coordinated missions across theaters of operation. Our defense correspondent, Kike Lomokiri, has the details. Okay, while we're talking about this, let's even bring you up to speed on the issues happening around security matters while we have Kiki and Sadia joining, because we have to talk about the issue around security, which has been in the front burner over time in the nation, from kidnapping to terrorism to the issue of intelligence gathering from security operatives who are looking for ways to see how this can be sub-pedal for Nigerians to have a safe haven they can call their own. That's why across board, you've seen state governments, everyone trying to ensure that this is put in place. But let's quickly take Sadia Yakubu, who's to join us right now, and talk about the issue of state policing in the country as the National Orientation Agency is looking at that. If Sadia is there for me, we'll see Sadia join us on this report. Let's quickly take Sadia's report and then we'll get back to Kikelo Mokere.
Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says decentralized policing has become imperative in addressing Nigerians' evolving security challenges. Idris further explained that strengthening the country's internal security structure must go hand in hand with strengthening national communication systems, particularly in an era where crises are shaped not only by events, but also by the rapid spread of information. He added that digital innovation is therefore central to timely, accurate and coordinated communication, especially during moments of national importance.
In your attempt to spread information, you also have to know that the person consuming that information also has right over it. Therefore, responsible use of whatever tool you are using is core in ensuring that you have what is called effective communication.
Earlier in his speech, Major General Chris Olukudale, retired, expressed appreciation to the minister for his support and encouragement towards advancing crisis communication reforms in Nigeria. He appealed for the minister's endorsement of the proposed National Crisis Communication Hope and Performance Index framework, which he described as critical to real-time monitoring, to coordinated responses to misinformation, and to strengthen institutional accountability.
Continuous training for journalists, public relations officers, security spokespersons, was strongly recommended during that conference, particularly in the digital tools, advanced fact-finding and fact-checking, and early detection through AI-generated misinformation tools. So strengthening media literacy was identified as essential to combating misinformation and safeguarding public trust.
With growing insecurity demands and rising complexity of threats, Nigerians' shift towards state policing may not longer be optional, but inevitable. From Abuja, Sadia Yakubu for Global Television News.
And joining me right now is Sadia Yakubu to bring us up to speed on what the state of policing in Nigeria is like. Hello, Sadia. It's good to have you join me on The Reporter.
Good evening, Anita Patrick, and thanks for having me.
This is back on the live, so this was in the front burner. With the federal government signaling readiness for state policing, is Nigeria prepared to decentralize its security architecture? And will state police truly address the country's growing insecurity challenges?
Well, thank you very much, Anita Patrick, for that wonderful question. First of all, let's look at the legal and constitutional reform. State policing would require constitutional amendments, clearly defining boundaries, mechanism, federal agencies, capacity as well. To me, state policing is a very good idea. It's a welcome development. But then you look at the side effects as well of these reforms, because some of the governments, permit me to use this word, will misuse state policing. To me, but I don't know if the National Assembly will take a very close look at this other side of the state policing.
If I got you clearly, because we've talked about this over time, where state policing should be the major way out to get the grassroots and get intelligence gathering for security operatives to be able to deal with the issue of insecurity across states and, you know, the grassroots level. But as misinformation increasingly shapes national crisis, because you talked about from the National Assembly, can the proposed National Crisis Communication Hub and digital innovation framework effectively strengthen accountability and real-time security response in Nigeria? Because the National Assembly are also going through the electoral amendments, the constitutional amendments, that's 1999 amendments, you know, to see how this can also come to play. But how do you see this becoming the real-time security response in Nigeria? I mean, the state policing itself.
All right, Aniete, in an era where digital platforms rapidly amplify rumors, misinformation has become a security threat multiplier. A proposed national crisis communication hub seeks to centralize and professionalize crisis message like a potential strength. If well designed, the hub could provide real-time verified information during emergencies. It can also reduce panic and rumor-driven violence, improve interagency communication as well. So open data access, rapid response coordination, transparency in security operations, etc.
Much for bringing us up to speed with this. We look forward to seeing state policing becoming a thing where Nigeria will be able to say insecurity has become the thing of the past, with good information or intelligence gathering from the grassroots to get to the people. Thank you so much, Sadia Yakubu, for joining us on the program, The Reporter. Well, let's turn our focus to the armed forces of Nigeria, who have set to intensify the nationwide operations, recording major gains against terrorism, kidnapping, and oil theft in February 2026. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Michael Onoja, says troops arrested 85 suspects and rescued over 400 hostages, coordinated missions across the theaters of operations. Our defense correspondent, Kike Lamokere, has the rest of the story.
In the northeast, Joint offensive against Boko Haram and ISWAP led to the interception of vehicles loaded with terrorist logistics, including materials for improvised explosive device. The Director of Defense Media Operations reels out that under Operation Fasanyama, troops rescued 21 victims, arrested 36 suspects, and secured 251 hostages during clearance operations, while Operation Wild Stroke recorded 49 arrests and 32 rescues, alongside recovery of arms and ammunition to disrupt criminal networks.
Furthermore, on the 23rd of this month, troops intercepted a Toyota pickup laden with vehicle spares and fabrics destined for Boko Haram elements, alongside a truck carrying 460 bags of fertilizers in Badi local government area of Yobe State. What is the significance of fertilizers? Fertilizers, as you know, is one of the key components for making IED bombs. So it is important for us to have a control of fertilizers in the northeast so that they will not.
The director further explained that in the Niger Delta, Operation Delta Safe led to the seizure of illegal firearms and the recovery of over 144,000 liters of stolen crude oil and 31,601 liters of AGO. He says the operations are part of the sustained effort to restore security, protect economic assets, and stabilize affected communities.
The maritime and land components, as well as other security agencies, dismantled crude petroleum processing equipment, thus safeguarding our national assets.
The armed forces reaffirmed their commitment to maintaining pressure on criminal elements while urging citizens to support security agencies with timely and credible information. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
Kike Lomo Okeri to bring us up to speed with how this is making progress. Hello, Kike. It's good to have you join me on The Reporter.
Anieta, it's good to see you. How are you?
Quickly, let's get to this. With troops arresting 85 suspects and rescuing over 400 hostages in intensified nationwide operations, how significant are these gains in the fight against terrorism, kidnapping, and oil thefts across Nigeria following the tone of insecurity in the nation?
Arresting 85 suspects and rescuing over 400 hostages in a coordinated nationwide operation, the military operation. These results are significant because they directly disrupt criminal networks, remove dangerous actors from circulation, and remove victims who might otherwise remain in captives for months. Like in the northeast, northwest, south, and southeast, targeted operations have not only neutralized armed groups, but also recovered weapons, ammunition, and stolen crude oil. However, the arrest and the rescue are critical steps towards which signals that coordinated military action works, but lasting security will depend on continuous pressure, robust intelligence, and active citizens' cooperation across the country.
Atmosphere or intense measures put in place to see that we have more of that come to play? Because my concern is the fact that we had rescued 400, we had rescued 400 hostages, which is a good thing. But I think if we have more numbers to arrest of suspects or having the criminals being brought to book will also help in putting that in the limelight. But as the armed forces sustain pressure through operations like Fasanyama, Wild Stroke, and Delta Safe, what more can citizens and communities do to support security agencies in restoring lasting peace and stability in the nation?
All right, the thing is, Ariente, the citizens and the community play a crucial role in supporting the armed forces' ongoing operation, like Operation Fasanyama, Wild Stroke, and that of Delta Safe, by providing timely, credible information on suspicious activities, movement of armed groups, and their location of illegal refineries are there, and as well as the hideout, locals have become force multiplier for security agencies. Communities can also strengthen vigilance networks by participating in local peace initiatives and cooperate with the law enforcement agency during patrol and community safety program. And beyond reporting, citizens can also foster social cohesion by resolving local disputes peacefully. And in essence, lasting peace is a shared responsibility. The armed forces provide the security network, but the security and these communities need and should continue to provide the intelligence, the vigilance, and social stability that makes those operations effective for the Nigerian military for a long term.
For bringing us up to speed with all of this, and we look forward to seeing more results and more engagements with community base to see how we can gather more intelligence to safeguard the nation. Thank you, and do have a lovely day ahead of you. Well, away from security matters, the Federal Ministry of Environment has organized a peer learning workshop on sub-national climate governance, performance rating and ranking for honorable commissioners for environment across Nigeria. Our correspondent, Ubong Usoro, tells us more.
The workshop brought together state commissioners for environment and key stakeholders to strengthen climate governance at the sub-national level. Director of the Department of Climate Change in Yobong, Abiola Awe, said the initiative provides a platform for states to showcase their achievements in the climate space, while also promoting healthy competition, accountability, and measurable performance.
Tangible progress happens at the state and local levels. This community of practice is therefore designed to serve as a structured technical platform to bridge policies and practice.
The training was facilitated by Professor Chukwu Okereke, Executive Director of Partnership for Agile Governance and Climate Engagement, PACE, who highlighted practical framework for accessing climate performance and strengthening institutional capacity at the state level.
Our policies about climate change have focused on the national level, and for a very long time, states were ignored. The Society for Planet and Prosperity, in collaboration with the Department for Climate Change, Federal Ministry of Environment, came up with a unique initiative to promote climate action at the state level.
The chairman of the Environment Commissioners Forum of Nigeria, Nura Kazore, and Commissioner for Environment Jigawa State, commended the ministry for convening the workshop, describing it as timely and impactful.
At the end of this, we should have a tailored training program as part of capacity building. One, we are expecting a trust-based networking amongst us that will be relating very well. And then we are going to ensure that we adopt and implement all climate action measures.
The event also featured technical presentation, peer review sessions aimed at improving climate governance performance nationwide. Ubong Usoro for Global Television News.
Joining me right now via Zoom is Ubong Usoro. Hello, Ubong. It's good to have you join me on The Reporter.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anita. It's a pleasure to join you on the program tonight. Thank you.
So let's see. This is interesting. With the Federal Ministry of Environment introducing a sub-national climate governance performance rating, will healthy competition among states truly accelerate climate action? Or will it expose gaps many states are not yet prepared to address?
Thank you so much, Anita, for that question. What we saw was that last year, the Federal Ministry of Environment, in partnership with PACE, that's Partnership for Agile Climate Governance, did a rating and ranking of states in Nigeria as to their responsiveness to climate mitigation, adaptation, and response. And in that rating, we saw Lagos State coming out as #1. We had states like Kano and Kaduna also doing very well. And after that rating, a lot of states were not happy, right? Some states complained that they do not know what is being used, the parameters that are being used to measure, that particular, they don't know the particulars that are used to measure that particular outcome. So the Federal Ministry of Environment had to go on that partnership again to be able to highlight those particulars and share their marking scheme, if you like to call it marking scheme, with the state so that the states can know and are better informed and are better prepared so that by the time the ranking and rating will be done again in September of 2026, the states would have known how they are ranked in terms of climate preparedness, in terms of climate adaptation, in terms of climate response, and there will be more competitiveness. Also, the intention is not to say this state is first, this state is last. The intention is to bring out the best from all of the states by this level of training.
As state environment commissioners adopt these new assessment frameworks championed by the Department of Climate Change and Partnership for Agile Governance and Climate Engagement, what concrete steps should citizens expect to see in their states as evidence of improved climate governance? Because, of course, we've had the issue around changing the climate, but climate is one thing governance is bringing into play. So in terms of that, what evidence should citizens in states see as an improvement to that?
All right. So one of the things that states are going to see is that the training encouraged that all states should have a Ministry of Environment, either separately or the one standing with the Ministry of Housing. There are some states in Nigeria that do not have the Ministry of Environment. Sometimes the Ministry of Environment is added to the Ministry of Housing, Ministry of Town Planning. At the end of the day, it is too cumbersome and the states are not able to redirect their energy. So we're hoping to see that. And we're also hoping to see that states will now have departments of climate change specifically, right? So that's also one of the level of response from the state level. States should be able to have departments of climate change, and the commissioners learned about that. And I hope that they are able to influence their governors to create these departments. And in the Department of Climate Change, the state should have sub-departments. There's a department for adaptation, there's a department for climate mitigation, there's a department for climate response, there's a department for climate resilience. So over 4 different departments will be created in the Department of Climate Change to help fast track the work, because all of these are different things. If you are talking about climate mitigation, those are different subject matters. Climate adaptation, different. Climate response, different. Climate resilience, different. So we're hoping to see all of these. All of these are scales that are used to rate. How does a state have? For instance, a state like Lagos that emerged the winner, #1 best ranked state by the Ministry of Environment and Peace at that last ranking. I was there at that particular ranking. Some of the things that Lagos has done very well is that Lagos have been able to demystify this particular department, and they have a department looking at, okay, so Lagos is below sea level. It's almost getting below sea level. What do we do to respond to that? So the Commissioner for Environment in Lagos said,
I see that you have a lot to say about this, and probably we should put you on that committee and see how you can bring in that climate issue around to communities. Thank you so much for being a part of the program this day. But let's switch our focus to the foreign scene. And on the foreign scene, former U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has told a congressional panel she had no idea about Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, as she called for lawmakers to question President Donald Trump under oath about his past association with a late sex offender. The former First Lady and her husband Bill had resisted a subpoena from the panel, dismissing it as politically motivated before agreeing to testify as potential contempt of Congress proceedings loomed against them. Uyi Agumofegbe brings us more.
James Comer, a Republican who chairs the committee that will also grill former President Bill Clinton, said the purpose of the investigation is to obtain more information about Epstein. Clinton had earlier challenged the panel to question Trump about the tens of thousands of times he shows up in the Epstein files. While her deposition was behind closed doors, the former senator posted her opening statement on social media, with the transcript expected to be published upon approval by her lawyers.
I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any connection or communication with him. I knew Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance, but whatever they asked me, I did my very best to respond. It was disappointing that they refused to hold a public hearing, so I wouldn't have to be out here characterizing it for you. You could have seen it for yourself. We had asked for that. We think it would have been better for the committee and its efforts to gather whatever information they are seeking. The
Republican-led House Oversight Committee is probing those who were linked to Epstein, who died in a New York.
Well, joining me live in the studio here is Uyi Agumofigwe to bring us up to speed. Hello, Uyi. It's good to have you join me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure always.
It's a Friday, but let's quickly get straight to what's happening here with Epstein's case. As the House Oversight Committee intensifies its probe, because I was asking you, this case is still in the run, into Epstein's files, should former officials like Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump be compelled to testify under oath in the interest of transparency?
Of course, that of Bill Clinton and his wife, Madam Secretary, all right? That's in the bag now because she has already appeared before the committee, all right? Her husband will do the same today. Hopefully that's on the way already. What else? The President, Trump, also has had some pressure on him to say you have to testify under oath because his name comes up multiple times, hundreds of times, some reports say thousands of times. So it's a list of A-listers across the world, including the US. So it's quite a potpourri of scandal, and I think we're just scratching the surface.
I think that's the best way to go because transparency and public trust is one thing we cannot joke about. Thank you so much, Uyi. I would have loved to take more time with my friend. All right, amazing time here on The Reporter. We hope you had an amazing time with us, but this is the size of the program. The Reporter, thank you for watching. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. To stay connected, kindly follow us across all social media platforms using @Global TV NG. I am Anieti Patrick. Bye for now.
Be mindful of how we use social media. It's not just about the platforms themselves.
To the preservation of the national unity and democratic stability.
Water is life, water is an essential service, and then we must have to carry out the residents.
Local communities are not only vital to the growth of society, but they also form the bedrock of humanitarian development.